clarity, character, choices, connections, and contribution. So I feel like you need to have the passion. If you don't have the passion, then you're not gonna, some of the things, you're not gonna see the vision. Work out what it is that you're naturally good at, and then you build on that, and that becomes your contribution. That's what I did, and that's how I've developed this, and it flows. It fits me perfectly. I was able to literally see a piece of land, go to this massive five or so bedroom house. So seeing that as a child,
children when they are growing up, sometimes they start doing things in the house. When my son was growing up, he used to play around with everything that I'm doing. In fact, he used to call himself Obehi Podcast number 2. And the podcaster number 1, here's the podcaster number 2.
What do you think that you can do to contribute to the next generation or this generation, or even the elder generation? So it's about giving back, adding value, because I believe that each of us, we've all been creative, we've all been put on the earth. There's something that every single person can give.
Okay, Katya, so thank you so much for joining us in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. Could you Thank you. Could you share with us a little bit about your background and what you do?
My background. So my background is quite varied. Currently, I'm working as a chartered surveyor, general practice. So my title is Strategic Estates and Asset Manager. And I'm working in local government, and I'm running a team of 7 estate officers. So we just look after services in the government that provide services like property-wise. Just ensuring that they have the facilities, the buildings to be able to provide these services to the public, to the community. And then outside of work, I also do some work with the RICS, which is the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And that is, I'm on the governing council, and I'm representing the next generation. And I'm currently in the process of releasing and launching a pilot for a mentorship initiative that I'm working on called C5 Rising. So, yeah, that's my background.
Wow, that's lovely. There is a lot of things on the fire today. All right, Katya, this is what we are very passionate about, our story, our origin. Of course, this is storytelling anyway. Could you tell us a bit about, were you born in the UK? Tell us a bit about your background.
Yes.
Grenada, yeah.
Okay, yes, I was born in the UK, but I always call Grenada, which is where my family are from, I call it home. So I grew up in Grenada. When I say grew up, you have summer holidays, 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks off, depending on what school you go to. But those 6 weeks always used to be spent in Grenada growing up. So that is also where I fell in love with construction, started to learn about the built environment. That's where the passion came from, because it's very different. So in the UK, it's not like back home. You don't have a child on the construction site in the UK. But back home, it's more free. There's less regulation back then anyway. This is over 20 years ago. So I was on the construction site. I was watching my grandparents' land being developed into a family home at the time. And I was able to literally see a piece of land, go to this massive five or so bedroom house. So seeing that as a child, I remember I was around 7, 8. I remember remembering that that's what I've seen. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Every time I'm coming back, there's new things being done. Because sometimes we'd also go in the summer and then we go again in the Christmas holidays. So I got to see progression. And I got to see it across different pieces of land as well. It wasn't just that one. But that's where I really fell in love with the built environment.
That's interesting. So was any person from your family already in the construction work where you might have been, children when they are growing up, sometimes they start doing things in the house. When my son was growing up, he used to play around with everything that I'm doing. In fact, he used to call himself Obehi Podcast number 2. And the podcaster number 1, here's the podcaster number 2.
That's so adorable.
All right. So, yeah, I was wondering if maybe in your family there was already somebody that was in the construction that could have maybe ignited your interest in growing up.
So what I actually do as a surveyor, no surveyors in the family, just me. My mum, however, invested in property growing up, and one of my uncles. So I was able to see it from that sort of side. Like my mom used to take me to a lot of auctions that she was going to. So I kind of learned a bit of investment through that, but I wouldn't exactly say that was exciting. It was just like I knew it made money, but it wasn't like actually seeing a building site being like, wow, this is amazing. Seeing the materials being delivered, seeing the architect come and do their drawings. It wasn't the same as that. So I am the only surveyor. And yeah, so I think my passion came from watching that in Grenada.
How do one start in being a surveyor? How do you, what are the things that you need to excel in that field?
I feel for the type of surveying that I do, so general practice, it is very much your kind of a frontline surveyor for the public. So I think that it's best if you genuinely have a passion. So my passion is I always want to be able to give back, and I can do that during my 9 to 5 of my role. So I feel like you need to have the passion. If you don't have the passion, then you're not gonna, some of the things, you're not gonna see the vision. So that's what makes, because general practice surveying is strategy. So you have to look for things at the top and be like, this is what we need to do here, there. So you have to have some sort of passion. You also need to be able to think strategically and not panic, because sometimes, especially like landlord and tenant issues, it can get a negotiation, it can get a bit heated. So you need to have to keep a level head, strategic vision, and have a determination. I think those things there. Everyone always thinks that you need maths, which is not true for the type of surveying that I do.
But do you really use map in it?
So maths is a part of it, but it's not like algebra or anything like complicated. For example, like civil engineering, structural engineering. It's nothing like that, or even architecture. It's not like that. It's very much, this is a formula. The formula never changes, and you would use something to get the rent or to work out a service charge. It's very structured. So once you learn how to do it, it doesn't change. There's no variation. Yeah. So I just think it's about having that underlying passion to actually want to provide a service, to enable another service to provide a service.
All right. So it appeared to me that you work a lot with the engineer, the constructor, so sort of break it down for me. Somebody want to develop a property. Where do you come in? You come in first, then you continue to work with the engineer who is designing it, or you just give them a picture, then you step back and let them do their job, then you come to see it at the end of the day. Can you break it down for us?
No, sure. This is the part now where we talk about different types of surveying, because you can have your general practice surveyor I can either come in at the start, so to actually say, this is what I think could be good here. This bit of land, this is the restrictions, this is what I think that could be good here. Then we go to planning and development surveyor, who typically will say, okay, legally, this is what we can do on this land. It's restricted by this, or you need to do a plan application for this amount. So they would then do that. Then you would now have an architect that would come in and, do the designs and all of that sort of stuff. The quantity surveyor is all about the money. They're going to come and tell you the cost, who will then go and liaise back again with the land and development surveyor. And then I would come in where I would interpret the report and be like, this wasn't my vision. What's going on here? And then I would also come back and say, okay, these are the tenants that I think we can get into this property. I'm talking about commercial surveying, by the way. I don't do residential. So the bigger developments, the multi-story buildings for residential buildings rather than single dwellings. So these bigger projects, there's a lot of us on a project team, different consultants doing different roles, but we all the majority of us identify as a surveyor. It's just different types of surveying. So in some lands, if it's been used in a development before, you need to do certain surveys to ensure that you can actually rebuild on the land, like it's not contaminated, things like that. So it's all those things that people overlook. They just see these big, large schemes going up and they'll be like, oh, it's taking so long, or it's this, it's that, it's annoying now. No, even down to bringing the materials on site, you have to be able to have a transport assessment to ensure that before you even start building, that you're able to bring these big trucks and where they're going to drop stuff off, where they're going to drop the scaffolding, how long they're going to be there, the provisions for the people that are actually physically doing the building. But this all comes from my role as to coordinate certain things for the project to move, to go according to the timeline and also the finances, because any delays, your finances are going to start to fly any which way. So there's lots of different moving parts. So it's not, you might look at surveying and just be like, we're just going to go into that direction. You might be more of a chatty person, kind of how I am, as you can probably tell. So
That's good. Anyway, you need that in the workplace of today, though. If you're not there, of course you are going to lose in most of the cases.
You honestly will.
God, yeah. So yeah, my curiosity is so this work that the work that you do, is it mostly okay? I understand that you work in big contracts, but are they usually government contract, or do you work with private individual? But of course, maybe it's a big contracts.
So I work for local authority currently, but for Hertfordshire County Council. So that is just ensuring that their estate is managed correctly, enabling them to provide services. So these services, currently my team, we cover highways, fire services, growth and environment. I don't do schools. The other team does schools, adult care services. So that includes like nursing homes, supported living, all of these things. So in terms of the service, we're not providing the service itself. We're just ensuring that the service has the provisions that it needs to provide it. So like sorting out tenancies, redeveloping their centres, things like that, sorting out new leases, ensuring that they're getting the most value for money from their subtenants as well. So it's all about creating capital receipts to then put back into that service, which in turn puts back into the council. So it kind of is like government contracts. I don't work in private practice.
I see. So you got this first love now in Grenada, right? But you are working in the UK. Have you ever done some work also in your home country? Okay, the UK is also your home country. I'm not denying that. Okay, now you have two home countries. Have you ever done work there, or you have only worked in the UK?
I have unfortunately only worked in the UK, but by God's grace, I will one day contribute to Grenada. But I feel like my contribution, and not just to Grenada, to the Caribbean, because I always reference Grenada as home. But I actually have heritage in Jamaica and St. Vincent as well. But Grenada is the one where I've been to both. I've been to all three, but Grenada is the one where I grew up. Like I can make my way around the island myself. I'm self-sufficient in Grenada. So I do want to go back home and give. But the only issue is in the Caribbean and similarly in Africa as well, the surveying is different. It's land surveyors that are there. I'm not trained in land surveying. And when you also move country, you have to then learn the rules and regulations of that country. So it's not just, I couldn't just pick up and go to Grenada for like 3 months and be like, oh, I'm going to work here as a surveyor. I have to relearn some things to be able to effectively provide a service there. But I will. But like I said, by God's grace, I will. You'll see. You'll see
Right.
that
I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so now you've been in Grenada. There are some people who have never been there who cannot figure it out. Tell us something about it. Give us a picture, something that get us a little bit jealous.
Grenada is the most beautiful island, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Grenadian. As you can see by that I always wear my little Grenada flag.
Love that.
Grenada is just easy on the eye. It's picturesque. First of all, we're the island of spice. And for those that drink rum, we also do export a lot of rum. Grenadian rum is known. It's known everywhere. A couple of main distilleries across the island, but we are the island of spice. All the seasonings, everything like that. When you go to the spice market, the smell is just, it's just divine. And yeah, Grenadians very friendly, very, very, very friendly.
We can see that in you.
That is good. So the UK hasn't ruined me then, but everyone's so cold in comparison to the UK. No one says good morning to you. No one says good evening, good night. No one cares about how you're doing. They just push on with their day. When you go back home, everyone's friendly, nice. Our national dish it's called oil down. It's like a thicker soup sort of thing, and it's got so much good food in this. It's just lovely. Oh, just talking about Grenada, I need to book a flight.
Do that, do that. So is it predominantly fish heavy or meat heavy or vegetable heavy? Can you tell us about this national dish?
It is all of them all together.
Wow.
Yeah, it is all of them all together. It is probably not the most healthy dish, hence the name oil down. A lot of oil is inside of it, but it is our national dish. And I think, you know, the best thing about when I go to Grenada, is getting the fresh food. It's, you know, you walking along the road, there's mangoes. The nice fresh, we have breadfruit. The yam is fresh. It's all just so good. Every time I go, I come back, I've gained weight.
So you need to visit there quite often. When you come to the UK, then you go to the gym. You go there, you refill.
Exactly,
That's
exactly. And
interesting.
all the walking as well. That's the one thing that I'm not a fan of. It's the walking, and the roads are, you know, somebody that drives in the UK, I would never get behind the wheel in Grenada.
All right, I got a picture. I can feel it. All right. So, what is Grenada most famous for? Tell us more about it. Okay, you see, we are doing storytelling now. We are interested because you are here. You become the ambassador now for the country. Yeah, is it also, I don't know, maybe in sports, maybe in music, maybe in theater? Give us something to hold apart from the food.
So in our flag, we have nutmeg. So as we're the island of spice, Grenada is famous for nutmeg. It is when you smell fresh nutmeg, the smell will never. If I close my eyes now, I can smell it. That's what it is. We are called the island of spice for a reason. In terms of being famous for something, I don't know how much you know about like Caribbean carnival. Last year, Grenada went completely viral for
Wow.
carnival. Yeah, they really did play mass very well, and yeah, the entire world was singing some of the songs that was made by Grenadians, that was done for Carnival. And now, if you try to get a flight to Grenada for the start of August, which is when their Carnival is, you are looking at 2,000 plus just to go, and there's no accommodation on the island. So that's what we're
There is
now
a lot of
famous for.
tourism there because I know that most of the countries in the Caribbean have a lot of your tourism is highly developed. Is that correct? Also for Grenada?
It is in certain parts, certain towns. So St. George's is the capital, and then within there's somewhere called Grandance. A lot of tourists there. But then when you start to, you know, branch out, so it's kind of like coming to London for St. George's for Grandance, like it's Oxford Street.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Thank you for sharing that with us. At least those that are watching now, this is the beauty of storytelling because through story will help you to be able to connect to places that you might not even have heard of, or maybe you have heard of, but you didn't have the chance to be able to learn more about it, like the food as Katya is sharing with us now. So yes, why don't reach out to her? Reach out, go to Grenada and learn more about the country, the beautiful culture. You know, that is that is what makes us. That is who we are.
Exactly.
All right. Now, in the UK, are there many people from Grenada?
Um, Growing up, outside the family, of course, I didn't meet another Grenadian until I got to secondary school. And it's a running joke here that we're all in West London, which is around like the Notting Hill sort of area, Ealing sides. Coincidentally, it's where they have carnival. Notting Hill Carnival. That is where the Grenadians are. There's not a lot of us really in the UK. I would say if we're not in London, then we're in Manchester. There's I do have some family myself that are in Manchester. I have also considered moving to Manchester. It's not a big island, Grenada.
What is the
So,
population more like?
oh, now you're testing
No, no,
my
no.
my
An
knowledge.
average. You know, you doesn't have to give me the exact number.
I haven't even got. It's a very small island.
Okay.
It's nowhere in comparison to what Jamaica is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very small island, and there a lot of Grenadians move to America
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rather than coming to the UK. So, because even sometimes we'll have around Independence Day, you would
Mm-hmm.
have events in London, especially. And over the years, there are less and less people that are going to the events. So I don't know where we are if we're just spreading out in different places. But
That's good. All right, now speak to our audience who are interested in collaboration and a business that maybe they want to come to the Caribbean. In this case, they come to Grenada for business. What kind of business opportunity are out there?
there's so many. I would definitely say the government in Grenada have a really good scheme that if you want to invest, if you invest a certain amount, you'll now get citizenship in Grenada. And depending on which country you want to invest from, that citizenship will allow you 100, it's over 100 visa free countries that you can go to.
I'm
So
coming to Grenada tomorrow. Let's do this. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting.
it,
Tell us more about that.
I think, well, my citizenship comes from my grandparents and my parents. So, but I think if I didn't have that avenue, I would definitely look into that. So you could invest like a lot of people, you know how big the Airbnb business is. If you invest, it's over 100,000. But to some people, that's not a lot of, to invest, especially in property. But you could have that as a rental there and be getting income on it, as well as you're now a citizen of Grenada.
That's
So
interesting.
it's a win-win, really. So if you like, I don't know how some people would do it, or some people might even want to live, so you can actually live over there for a bit and then gain citizenship that way. But that's the longer avenue to do it. Or you can just marry a Grenadian.
Okay, that is a perfect one. Love sees everything. With love, everything is covered. No,
Exactly.
that is a play that is a game that exists in Germany a lot for many Africans there. You are told that okay, you want to get German document or German Mali. That is how Nigeria will call it. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Now the best option is just to get married. If you get married to a German, then they give you the paper, and sometimes they can also take it.
You might be subject to some sort of test or something like that, but
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
the easiest option.
yeah. That's it. That's it. All right. So I have a curiosity. Now you were talking about the 5C rising or rise. Tell us more about that.
So yeah, C5 Rising. First of all, we'll go with the name. So my name's Katya Charles. So that's what the C is for. A lot of people in the workplace usually call me CC. Every time I join someone new, they always think that, oh wow, I'm going to call her CC. I've heard it
Stacy.
for years. It's nothing new. So I just thought, yeah, C. And then usually you have 4 pillars, but I've based C5 around 5 pillars to be unique. So you call it C5 Rising. And I feel that if you're able to experience this initiative, this program, in some way you will rise. We're hoping. But it's an initiative focused on helping young people to be more prepared for the working world. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't always have to be corporate. Obviously I'm based in corporate, but it's just about preparing them for the working world. So it's past being just academically prepared. It's about having that confidence, awareness, and opportunity. And then it's anchored by the framework, which is the 5 C's. Do you want me to tell you a little bit about the 5 C's?
Absolutely, we are here for this reason. Oh, you have on my ear.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, this framework, everything that is delivered, so presentations, workshops, any smaller talks, all based around the 5 C's. So that's clarity, character, choices, connections, and contribution. So just understanding your direction as a young person, as a student. Your character is, demonstrated by the values that you put forward, that you show, the mindset that you have, the discipline and how you handle certain situations. And then your choices are kind of based on clarity as well. So the decisions that shape your outcome, your end destination, is led by your choices. Then your connections It's about how you engage, the relationships that you have, the networks that you build for yourself, and then the contribution, which is, I would say that this one is more to the kind of to say to them, this is what I'm doing. So what do you think that you can do to contribute to the next generation or this generation or even the elder generation? So it's about giving back, adding value. Because I believe that each of us, we've all been, we've all been creative, we've all been put on the earth. There's something that every single person can give. Not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to work that out in their lifetime. And some people, by the time you're finished, you don't know what your contribution is. Or others, you're running a race that's not actually your race. So work out what it is that you're naturally good at, and then you build on that, and that becomes your contribution. That's what I did, and that's how I've developed this, and it flows. It fits me perfectly.
This is beautiful. I love that. So where is the idea coming from, these 5 C's?
It's just what I did was, the actual C5 rising came from a feeling. I kept going into talks like schools and stuff with the RICS, or even talking to people that are just younger that just reach out to me, and it's all coming out with the same thing, that certain gaps are there. It's not the fault of the education system, the schools, the colleges, the unis. It's just that there's something missing that sometimes in the education system cannot be reached. And I was fortunate enough that when I was in schooling, my mum was able to send me to private schools. And because the classes are smaller, all of that, they know you individually for you. They know what you're good at. They know what you're not good at. They help you to develop certain areas that's just not developed in mainstream schools, unless you're really lucky and you're just in an exceptional school. So I'm using my knowledge from being a child that was like raised and developed in private schools to somebody that has also struggled in the workplace. And I wrote down what I want to give. And then some of these words started flowing. Like, you have to build your character to sustain certain things. You need to have certain connections. And then coincidentally, they were C's. So I was able to just be like, Cartier Charles, C5 Rising, there we go. So it all just flowed into the C's, and it worked out. It worked well. It made sense.
Absolutely. So is it a for-profit or a non-profit organization, this that where you are using this 5cc or 5Cs?
So enable, for it to be sustainable for me, it is a charged organizer, like fee paying. But I feel that that enables me to actually give more in the session, to put things like worksheets together, to print stuff off, to spend more time as well, because I do have to like take time out to put everything together, write it all down, create these presentations, put the workshops together, give out small things in the workshops. So yeah, it will. But there's currently a pilot that I'm doing. I'm trialing. So for pupil referral units, because I just think they're overlooked sometimes. A lot of people think, oh yeah, education system, you're going to go into mainstream schools. That's great. That's fantastic. But what about those that have been left behind almost, or been taken out because they don't see a pathway for them in mainstream school? Those are the people that I want to help. I want to be able to reach. So yeah, the pilot is discounted for pupil referral units, in the hopes that even if I can help 1 to 2 students out of a room of 30, then I'm happy. But good. Yeah.
So these young people that you are working with, are they like inside this organization that you are building? Okay, even though you are, this is a business, or you are sort of reaching out to them, they're using this framework to help them. Can you tell us more about that?
Let me see if I understand what you're saying.
Okay, let me put it again. Like, okay. Now we understand that you are working with young people, right?
Yeah.
So these young people, did you like build them as a community, or you are reaching out to them and then using this framework to help them?
Yeah, so reaching out to their education providers and then using the framework to help them. So what I usually do is, when I start a presentation, it's not that long ago that, I was sat where they were sat in school, in terms of, when you're 15 plus and you're thinking, what is going on here? Like, where do I fit in the world? So I still have memory from that. And I've been writing stuff down, like how I used to feel and all of that. So I'll have questions. And 9 times out of 10, you get students that start looking up and like, oh, okay, she's not talking rubbish. So they start to, then you build a little connection with them and they start to become open. And then I'll tell my own story. Oh, because not everything's been plain sailing. I really did struggle as a graduate surveyor. Partially it's because of where I was, but I feel that if I had something like this, the framework, just having something to almost control your thoughts and contain them, you're not going to be running on fear, you're not going to be running on confusion. So giving them the framework and putting the practical steps in place in terms of, okay, this is what I did, this is how it helped me, maybe it can help you. I always usually end a presentation by saying, within the next 30 days, what's one thing that you're going to try and refine about your character? Because that can be done in 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking of that one thing, what exactly do you want to change in the educational system? Looking at maybe the situation in the UK or let's say in your city.
There is a lot of well, it's always been the same, really. There's a lot of focus on those that make an institution look good. In terms of those that are getting those, they're not even called A's anymore. I can't remember how they grade. It's like ones or something like that. They've changed the grading, how you refer to them. But let's just say, for the sake of it, let's say A's. Those children there will be like, yes, this is a amazing star child, whatever, whatever. You'll have the ones that are really good at sport, and then the others. Where do you go? Where do you fit in? What do you fall into? Because you're not going to make the school newsletter, or they can't parade you on the school's website, or you might come in with your skirt a bit shorter and your tie's not done, and then all of a sudden you get labelled as you're a child that doesn't listen, or you don't try, or do you know what I mean? There's lots of different influences in the world, so I just feel that if I can help them not to change but refine. I don't like the word. I feel like refinement is it's a nicer word. If you can refine your character, then that's going to underpin your values. And if you have the correct values, you'll go where you need to go. You'll go far. Because people will identify certain traits in you. They'll be like, okay, I want to help this person. I want to work with this person. I'm going to offer them this opportunity. I can see them trying. It's all about your character. That's where it all really flows from. So at the end of a presentation, at the end of a workshop, or like a 6 weeks course, if I'm going into a school, I expect there to be some refinement in character of the individuals, even if it's just small, even if it's just them recognizing where they have gone wrong in the past and holding up their hands and just saying, do you know what, I could have done better in that situation. Not I'm blaming the world, I'm blaming who's above me. Just looking at it and being like, this is where I could have taken some ownership of this. Then the schools, colleges and unis wouldn't have to then in turn almost forget about these individuals that might not be acting exactly how they want, because there will be some accountability from the student side.
Thank you so much for that. Could you tell me about the preparation that you had to put in place to activate this pilot? So what do you have to do? Do you tell us about, okay, why I'm asking you that is that there might be somebody there who wants to take a lead after you, who say, oh, Katya has done it, I can do it too, because that is actually what it's all about, no? Inspiring people to take action. So share with us those little secrets.
No, most definitely. So first of all, I feel like having an idea is fantastic, it's great. But if you haven't really put a plan in place, because at the start it was kind of like, it started off as a tiny little idea and it was like a one-off. Then it was like, okay, I can do this as non-profit. Then when I actually sat down and looked at the bills, the 9 to 5, like the most important thing in my life, which is my son, I was just thinking, where is this all going to fit in? How is this all going to work? So I had to really break it down and say, okay, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. In terms of actually getting in the door, there's certain things that you need, especially in the UK. So your DBS check to check that you're allowed to work with, young people, children, vulnerable people. You're allowed to be in the space in the first place. So your DBS check is the first thing. Then I also did a course on safeguarding awareness. another thing that you need when you're in an education provision. Typically, a lot of teachers have it. Although I'm not teaching, I'm still delivering a workshop. So it's just recognizing, essentially, bottom line is recognizing if a child, a young person, student needs help and they've not said that there's things that are, not exactly right, that maybe you can see as somebody that's delivering the service, be like, oh, okay, something here is not, it's not looking okay. You might report that to the right person. So I did that course there. And then having insurance. Because again, if you're giving advice and something goes wrong off the back of the advice that you've given, you need to be insured if someone claims. Also health and safety. So what's it called? Professional indemnity insurance. I made sure that I had the right cover for that, and public liability insurance as well. So those insurances are together. But it was just about really looking and taking the time to look what needs to go into the background, rather to hold the idea up, rather than just, I've got an idea and yeah, I'm here. It had to be, what do I need to do to make this idea to flow?
All right. Thank you so much for that, Katya. I really appreciate that. Now, tell the people, how can they reach out to you? Those who want to connect with you, perhaps why not do business with you?
Oh, that would be amazing. People can connect. I'm always up for talking, new ideas, all of it. Especially if it's about contribution and helping those that are coming after us, how we can do that. So the best way to reach me is LinkedIn, which is exactly how you reach me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Katya, it has been a pleasure talking with you here. And of course, I look forward to another conversation. Here, we are never ending. We just do one after the other. So thank you so much for the time. Really, have been amazing talking with you.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate you inviting me on the show. I've had a great convo with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So have a wonderful time.